Hello. I haven't been meaning to do this video, but I mean I might as well because well, there was a thing that happened in July. That thing is, well, Doom leaderboards got wiped out, and the thing says go watch 2 DSDA. Um, and I'm the one in blame for that, obviously, because as out of all moderators that are listed here, I'm the only one who's really active in enforcing rules, adding categories or anything. And yeah, I'm the one to blame. So I guess I owe a response. So this video will be many things: apology, drama, and what's next for Doom speedruns on speedrun.com. So first of all, we gotta go jump back in time a bit and go to this absolutely dreadful website, as many, well, not many, but probably everyone visited since the thing has been banned. And oh, it's the different site. This website, this one, Doom.sda. So this is the leaderboards for Doom, which existed for a very long time, and it would seem, I think, yeah, that Andy, who's been supporting the website for god awfully long time, which is mad props to him, has finally retired. So there are no more updates on this website. Not gonna be. So this will be a new Doom website, and here you can watch demos. Of course, it's not super intuitive, but Doom is also a game which isn't limited to Doom 1, 2, and Final Doom. It's limited to a great number of runs, WODs, and you create demos for every single one, so you can go pretty much everything that was ever created that anyone bothered to running and then uploading videos. It's not super intuitive in a way that if you go here, you'll end up getting down. Well, that is some. Oh my God! Can somebody have not a package run? Okay, you'll end up getting something like that, which will be an LMP, which will be basically a demo file. And Doom's been like that since the day it came out. Demos are very useful tools. First of all, it's mostly easy to tell if you've been running Doom correctly or not. If any side memes are occurring, so if you're used so like something called AutoSR50, for example, just out of the top of my head, which is a thing that is a part of certain source ports for Doom, which is banned by rules. So by analyzing the demo, you can say it. By analyzing video, all you have is eyes. You don't have any tools to analyze it. So basically, if anything slips under radar, here in the video you have like a wrong run, basically. So why that matters? To keep everything consistent and keep everything in check. So for example, if we go into Doom 2, not 23, 2, you'll see that, well, first of all, everything is under compete N, but that's a different story. Everything in Doom 2 is done and with comp level 2, which is a variable which determines how certain things work in the engine. Because Doom engine had certain changes, and then with newer source ports, there are more modern presets. And running the WOD with a different preset might cause different things to happen. While it might not be noticeable with your eyes, it is definitely a thing that can be happening here. So it is important that these things are correct, and all of that can be done when you analyze demos. So Speedrun.com, come back here. Speedrun.com is used to be, well, there were all the demos, and normally people can't go here to just watch your run. So you go into any leaderboard, you go here, and voila, you have a video by, let's say, Zero Master. You can watch it, but video is a secondary artifact. So the problem arises that how do you verify runs which are, for example, claimed to be world records? Gladly, out of all people who joined this speedrunning community during this website's during the leaderboards being alive, all of those people started submitting to Doom World, which eventually would get on DSDA. That's how you submit to DSDA, because there is no like submit button. If you read it, there will be like something, send a message, and it's not working anymore because, as I said, Andy retired. This will be a website, but it's still in making. Let's say you made a world record and you post a video. If you don't post the demo, this run cannot be legit by any Doom standards, because God knows what was there. Maybe you even played on zdoom and it's just not visible on your submission because your zdoom is weird. But zdoom is something which is another problem. I'm gonna reference it in a bit. So you'd use the specific source ports and you'd record demo and then you submit. And all the people who joined on like super competitive level, who were able to beat all the existing demos, were like Dwaze, Depravity, go away, and I don't wanna forget about anyone, but there were a few more people who did it. Sean RT, yeah, and probably a couple more. But many people would get a wrong idea because this thing was not completely filled, which is part of moderation team problem, obviously. But if you go here, back in here, you would see this whole list of demo types, all these weird categories which exist, and the Speedruncom had these four, and I believe no monsters. How that was determined? It was most competitive that are existing, and the cakewalk one, where you just optimize your movement with no RNG whatsoever. And then Speedruncom also had meme categories for people, because Doom is run on the hardest difficulties, and there are many people who are like, but what if I want to run on the easiest, because that's like how to make your runs faster. So we added for episodic runs and for full game on Doom 2, we added I'm Too Young to Die, which is not an actual category by anyone. So in July of this year, I went and nuked all these categories. Why? Well, my response, which was provided by me here, I believe. Yes, it's pretty short. And most importantly, this response isn't really me saying things. It's is me understanding everyone in Doom community who were expressing that the Speedruncom is really going in the wrong direction with Doom leaderboards, and why. So this is a summarization. These are very small points, and I'm not gonna follow this one here. I'm gonna go inside this post, which was created today by Wafu, where he talks about all the points that I make and gives his opinion. I'm gonna talk over this entire post right now. We're gonna do this. But the basic reason why I deleted leaderboards was it was a very human problem, really. The people who I respect in Doom speedruns said that I'm wasting time on this god-awful website trying to make it look appealing to everyone and everything. And only a handful, like as I said, only like a couple people really cared about Doom. Everyone else just cared for getting a random IL, a random run in, so that they can say, oh, I ran 20 billion games, but in fact they only did like a 9-second E1M1, or even worse, 10-second E1M1. So over some time, that kind of attitude towards me trying to maintain this page got really annoying, and I was also at the very tough part of my life, kinda. Bad excuse, but that's what happened. I just didn't feel like it, and when people who you respect tell you stop doing this shit because it's worthless and revamp the rules and let's do everything by the standards. And if people really care about Doom, they would click here, they would see this, and be like, oh, okay. But if they don't want to run Doom, they can just fuck off. Basically, that was the decision. It was, of course, it had the basis of a very long wall of text, which was later summarized to me into this list, which I posted here. But let's go through Wafu's post. I'm gonna read it out loud, every point and every argument he makes on that point, and then I'm gonna explain where he's right or wrong and where everyone's been coming in this situation. So, I'm not a Doom runner, but still feel like there is something wrong going on in this game, and I wonder how it's even possible that this happened on Speedrun.com. Oh, you don't even know how many things can happen on Speedrun.com. People can just nuke leaderboards randomly sometimes, not even that. Ultimate Dome has been one of the games that I would like to run at some point, and is likely most speedrun and as likely most Speedruncom users, I'd like to track my times here. Fair. If you just want to get your runs in, full game leaderboards are still here. They're not gone anywhere, and the rules pretty much unchanged. If you just want to run ILs for the sake of running ILs in a highly optimized game, I kinda don't get it. I never understood that. Let's go in here. There are a billion of WODs, obviously. And if you pick some at a time, the only thing that is interesting, or was ever to me, that's something I just can't understand. So I'm just giving my opinion. Is if you like route levels and then get the best time, kind of the good enough time with your route. That's where ILs end for me. Grinding them to perfection or trying to compete or get some IL time in a game where getting really high IL time is harder than just hard. I just never see that as a fun thing, but I guess some people might be willing to do that. But in my opinion, full game runs are here, you can still do that, sure. That is no longer possible because it's essentially been removed from speedrun.com. Well, I just commented on that. The reasoning behind the removal of ILs from the Zero's post was this and is mostly flawed. I agree, it is. Because that isn't entirely the reasoning. It's only points, but you also gotta be knowledgeable. Well, you gotta be not knowledgeable. I'm not saying I'm like the super mind of Doom speedruns. Hell, my times aren't even all that good. Unless I really care for a WOD and then I max it or something. Yeah, so let's go through reasoning. 1. Speedrun.com boards are incomplete. An example picked at random. E1M4 Max has 2 entries on speedrun.com but 36 on DSDA. Wafu's commentary. You can complete the leaderboards unless the player especially asks you not to. Sure. Unless users who wish... Yeah, I know that's the same point. There are reasons why people choose to use this website, and there are reasons why people choose not to use this website. Still, I believe Speedrun.com expects to submit runs of a game they want to run if they find a game and run it. But they can submit runs. What's the point of being on Speedrun.com? Again, kind of goes to this point here. In my opinion, that to run Doom, you still have everything it has here. If you really want to run ILs, then you're probably more interested in general Doom speedrunning, so you should do it by the standards. He really goes off the point here with this reason. So, what was my explanation here? it's only part of reasoning, so obviously I'm not removing leaderboards because they're incomplete. If anything, that's moderation's team job to fill in leaderboards with a run that's been done in years. And so's true, but when you go to speedrun.com, you open the leaderboards, and many people, that is actually second point here, many people would see that as the ultimate source of truth. How would you know that? Well, the very recent example, I'm not gonna pull out the link out of my ass, but Guinness Book always looks up times at speedrun.com. And they listed the Doom speedruns, but these are kind of the categories which aren't actually Doom categories considered by Doom community, because you can't record proper demos of this. And they went here, and it was King Dime's 21 run, but it got beaten by Zero Master, just not uploaded here. And they just picked this time from here. So looking at this leaderboard, you would think that only 6 people ran this category, which probably isn't true, because I know at least a few people who did but just didn't submit it because runs are so terrible. And these are also not main Doom runs, because you can't record demo for this with source boards, which are considered, well, I actually can with CN Doom, but it'll be kind of a different category. That is a historical problem, we're not going to go here. But this gives a bit more of a interpretation, but again, full game categories are generally more popular with games, and so it was with Doom. And it's just the popularity dipped down after I removed leaderboards. Obviously, less people started submitting. But also in level leaderboards, if you would go, there would be 100+ people running very first level UV speed, and then a few more running some other levels. So the only thing which was actually missing from these leaderboards is actual times, the actual world records. And when you would go into some random level, you would see some time or no time at all, and it would lead you to confusion. Is no one running it? Hasn't this been like the longest game ever? Well, one of the longer time speedrun communities existing, and you'd probably be right. And many people interest span is very short. We live in technology age, so if it's something, this speedrun.com is considered, you want a speedrun, you go to speedrun.com. It's universal knowledge, with a few exceptions, and even those exceptions have their appearance on the website. So it would be the GoldenEye with EliteNet, Quake with Quake Done, Speed Demos Archive, and few others, like Mega Man speedruns probably. I'm not sure how Dark Souls community is keeping their stuff on right now, so maybe those as well. But this is the easiest way to look it up, and it would give you a wrong perspective. So one of the reasons why this was made to point that if you want to see ILs, go there. If you want to run ILs, this is the history. If you want to do something with it, there is history. You can submit there to be part of a history. Some people don't like going to external websites, and Wafu refers that later on, especially if submitting there is like some weird ass process. They're scared, and on some point I would just say, if people don't care, go extra mile. And I did say that in some other post. If people don't want to go extra mile to run the game the way the community of the game says is right, then you can run it the way you want, but no one else has to follow your rules, or shouldn't care for your problem, because that's how it was. Revamping something as big as this takes time. This takes time. This takes time to start working, start being a thing. So it's obviously a slow process, but it also has to do with you willing to run a game. If you just want Speedruncom points, full game leaderboards. If you want to just fill in ILs for whatever reason, do it, but again, I'm mostly going through reasons right now. There is a second part to this video, which is coming up later. Speedruncom has never claimed to be source of truth. That's what Wafu says. People can explicitly ask to get their runs removed, and moderators must do so. Doesn't mean it's wrong. The SDA is not the ultimate source of truth either. It's not complete, never be complete. Well, the thing is, first of all, it's archived, so it has runs from a very long time ago. Second of all, of course it won't be complete, because people who don't want their runs submitted won't submit. But so it is with Speedruncom, so it makes no sense. It like arises in all. Why do we need to talk about those people? Where the talk is about the speedrun, the SDA provides the whole archive for years, for for decades. And Speedruncom can do that if moderators, which is currently really me and sometimes Cyberdemon, if we just go out of the way to fill all 30 plus, even more sometimes, runs into the leaderboards, which is unreasonable, at least to say, and you shouldn't be expecting that from a moderation team on Speedruncom. If there is a source which has been doing this for years, it's the redoing of the work which has already been done efficiently. Also, every demo, that's a point that Wafu brings up later about the SDA, that everyone can submit to run on your behalf even if you don't want to. That's not actually true. For your demos to be posted on the SDA, you either post them on Doom World or you submit it to ND. And that's how they end up there. If you don't want your demos, you just don't submit them. That's about as easy as it gets. Authenticity, that's my point. Doom speedrunning has various important requirements to prove the authenticity of runs, among them using compatible source ports and recording demos. These are fundamental in the community, and Speedruncom boards aren't really set up to provide this purpose. Okay, let me read the answer first. I think moderators should be able to deal with this stuff. If your requirements of verifying runs are so high you can provide the proof of Speedruncom submission. Those requirements should either be changed or you shouldn't act like you own the leaderboard. As far as I know, everything you can provide on the SDA can be done on Speedruncom. Yeah, it can be. You can submit your demo in a link, just drop it in a Dropbox, for example, and then add it to the run. But the thing is, people will submit videos as their primary source because videos are short and don't require you to do any extra effort thanks to YouTube and Twitch and other platforms. You just click play and the video pops out, you watch it, and then you're done. It's very easy, and you won't really know anything deep. You won't even probably go reading description. But demos are required, and I talked about that before. I'm not gonna reiterate myself. So, of course, that is not really the reason why leaderboards were removed either. It's one of the reasons why Speedruncom isn't the best place for that, because you can force everyone to do demos, but is it really reasonable if, let's say we're talking about my cat climbing up my knees. If we talk about... oh my god, why do I close the post? Knee Deep in the Dead, first episode. If someone submits, I don't know, anything below 5 minutes, should you really bother with demo? Should they be bothering? Maybe they just did it because they had fun, but they don't really want to grind for world record. And that is the counter-argument to myself. But the thing is, it's not how it works. If you do run something in Doom, you like gotta provide demo in community. But I can see it totally being unreasonable. So what we tried doing here is bringing everything to a standard. If you want to submit something, even if it's not first place, do a demo, or get the fuck out. It's poor time investment to span loss of... Yeah, that is what I said about the SDA being archived that's been maintained for decades. Wafu's reaction. It's kind of a red flag for a moderator to say this. You should expect having to invest into moderation of a game here, otherwise what's the point of moderating it? And I don't want to sound rude, I don't expect every moderator to spend every day here, but you shouldn't be avoiding moderation via these methods. Agree. That's why leaderboards existed, and I really didn't have much trouble with moderating it the way it was ran. It's just that if you would expect someone to just bring, even GoldenEye doesn't do that, to bring every single run that is that has been uploaded in history to speedrun.com, you're delusional, and no one should do it. And this argument of mine mostly has to do with my argument number 2 of confusion, that people will come here and they won't see the full picture because they won't see history, hence they would think that it's either dead or it's free world record because there is no run. It's actually the thing that I've been doing for a long time. People would submit their loud run, haha, I got world record in Doom, yeah boy, and then I will just at the same moment find the actual demo and upload it under the whoever has that demo on speedrun.com, and it's like a 40-second faster run or some shit. It's kind of funny, but it's also really annoying that these kind of people exist. And it's like, people don't know what they're doing. If you expect people to know what they're doing without going to actual sources, you're... I don't know, you have a very high faith in humanity. Might be a tiny subset, but it might be a subset of people who want their runs to be tracked on speedrun.com. Again, reiterating, yeah, I do understand that. But you remove all of their runs, and that is kind of what's been eating me, really. Some of these runners might be proud of having their runs here, be it world records or just personal records, but those were not just a few runs, and you shouldn't be punishing people just because some other people don't use speedruncom. That wasn't really done to punish everyone who's done that, and if anything, I always felt like I'm just ditching all these people who entered some effort, had some effort put into this seriously or half seriously, and that is why second part of this video exists. Speedruncom boards missing lots of relevant categories, necessity a result of 4. I might be saying, but it can be fixed. Again, Doom is there is so much stuff. I can create all these 30 categories, but it would just cluster the leaderboards, especially if I create that many IL categories. That would be an absolute nightmare to look at. I just can't think off the top of my head the worst looking leaderboard on speedrun.com. But if you have that many categories in your ILs, something is wrong. And I can guarantee that almost everyone not gonna run most of them. That's why 4 of them existed. And if I ever redo ILs, spoiler, I will not be bringing everything, as it doesn't need to be there. It will be clustering leaderboards, it will be creating all those empty spaces, because porting the entire archive into speedrun.com is unreasonable. So there will be these categories, even if I port world records, let's say, there will be, however, 12 plus IL categories, and half of these categories will just have one run into each level, and it just goes back to point 2 and point 4. It is something you just gotta understand, humanly impossible. And there weren't many people wishing to moderate Doom on speedrun.com who I would say you can throw me off the bus, you can throw everyone here off the bus, and this leaderboard will probably become a cesspool because it will have nothing to do with actual Doom speedruns at some point. It will be covered in GZ Doom, jumping, crouching, mouse look, vertical mouse look that is, and all this kind of stuff which is not allowed by community. And this page, ever since it was created, was to represent the Doom speedrunning, and that's the thread that I made in 2018. I don't think 2018 was the year when these leaderboards were created, but on some point I just had to make these posts to add clarification, yeah, and add Discord link, because there were many people, and you would not believe how many there were, who were just thinking that this website has everything there is in Doom speedrunning. So let's go to my summary. So points are they're all connected. They're all connected because it's just such a large scale community which existed for a long time, and to have something that represents it in a correct way, you just gotta either find the middle ground. That's why there were only a subset of categories, but not all of them, which leads to point 5. While they were maintained in a way that the actual world record was there, after some of course I was saying that people were submitting world records and then I was updating. After some time I got tired of this and I updated every category with actual world records, and then second point comes up, and then first point comes up, and then fourth point comes up, and then people start submitting and the third point comes up. That's kind of how it was. So let's go to summary. Speedruncom page is nice for casual players or as a landing page for people coming in from Google or elsewhere on the site, but not really the place for serious competition. And that is true. If you care about Doom speedrunning, this is not the place where you should be looking. And that's the whole point that was happening here. That you should go to Doom SDA, like it or hate it. That is the source of truth. Well, first of all, you can make its place serious competition. There is no reason why it wouldn't be possible. That's why full game categories are still existing to represent the serious competition. It's just not ILs. But even if you couldn't, just as you're implying, it's nice for casual players. Casual players should be denied of personal tracking. No, they shouldn't. They can submit runs just of a full game and not of ILs. I don't know that many people, like around a couple more leaderboards, one of them being Serious Sam, and out of all who run the game, there's like only that many people who would submit ILs, and out of those who would submit ILs, there are even less people who would do more than just Hatshepsut, which is a first level of Serious Sam, the first encounter. So should I only have E1 and 1 as categories? Maybe. Obviously they shouldn't be expected to submit. Yeah, they shouldn't be. But you also can't really say that is a speedrunning. Is this really a speedrunning if you just drop in a random game, drop some shit time and call it a day? Say I speedrun the game? It's not even about like having world records or anything. It's just what's the point in the whole process? But regardless, second, runners interested in working on ILs would be better by joining Doom speedrunning community proper, either on Discord or Doom World forums. This is the core reasoning why people shouldn't bother with speedrun.com leaderboards, because that is not a community representative. That's very subjective. It's not, because community existed long before speedrun.com was created, long before speedruns became such a mainstream thing as it is right now. People just do their stuff on speedrun.com and that's it. At this point, you're talking about people who don't care about speedrunning the game. They just want to cash in on the popularity of a game and be like part of that game. Like when Shock Blast's E1 and 1 was popularized by Carl Jobst making video on it, describing how he got 8 seconds on it instead of 9, which was the world record for a long time, 18 something years. There were a lot of submissions for E1 and 1, and only a handful of them were 9 seconds or below. Of course, not a single one was 8 seconds, because this is just so hard to achieve. So you just end up having all these runs recorded in a various fashion on a browser, which I was denying because it's not a valid source port, recorded on a phone, which was denied in cases where it wasn't clear which source port was used, with jumping over the window, and some other stuff. People, even on speedrun.com, people don't read what they're doing. There's reason this button exists, which showcases rules, and people just ignore it. People ignore rules on the said speedrun.com. Of course, if you want people to care about runs, you would at least want them to click that button. And then, if you care for ILs, you should go to the place where all Doom runners hang out, where all the records are being tracked. And that is, I completely disagree with the fact that this is very subjective. This is something a lot of people have been thinking. And this is why this post, this post was created eventually with Discord link, so that people who actually care start joining community and doing it right. They don't want to feel obliged to join Discord server or some external forums. They just can play the game, have fun, and eventually submit something they're happy with their time. That is true. That is a good counter argument. That you should be able to submit your time, however shit it is, to leaderboards if you just wanted to play the game. But again, if you just want to play the game, you don't have to submit to speedrun.com at all. You can run categories that don't exist. Then nobody is gonna add. Will you say that every category that's getting proposed must be added as well to the speedrun.com because you denying people an opportunity? No. I don't see that as being a violation of someone's choice. It's good on paper, but when you start applying it to more things, it just gets weird. My final thoughts and issues with this: the website. Expecting people to use an external website to submit runs is crazy, let alone thinking they want to use email to submit runs. Again, it was explained how you submit runs on the SDA, but I agree the SDA submission has aged poorly. That's why this thing is being developed, and there will be a submission button eventually. Quality and design of the website follows very old standards. You can possibly think people want to use it. There is just no other option. If so, what? It's been a community hub which has, again, which is an archive. Would you go fighting those on the elite? That they, because this is where main rankings are for GoldenEye. It's here, and the website also isn't super intuitive, but you can. It's made on a very old engine, as far as I can see. And then, of course, you can go watch, and there will be videos and everything. But it's more intuitive than DSD. I'll give it that. But it's also a separate website. But if you want your GoldenEye speedrun to be counted as legit, you would submit there. The good point in why DSDA is garbage is that you can't really track your progress, as in speedrun.com. If you go into someone's profile, you would see their times, what place they are, what rank they are. So it is with EliteNet. When you would go into, I'll have to open it again. If you would go into anyone's profile, where is it? It's also not very intuitive, I'll tell you that, but there is leaders, and then there's like a certain point system when you go to rankings. Yeah, there is this thing, which random numbers, which obviously have some meaning, but by looking at them you totally won't understand what the hell are these points. Why are they the way they are? So it kinda is with DSD. Of course you can go into players, and there is like a full player list, but there is no rankings overall. There is top 20, but that's about it. So unless you're in top 20, you can't watch your progress tracked in any way, shape, or form. Which is why people prefer to use speedrun.com, because it's very easy to see all your progress, and when you want to watch it, you just click into your profile and go there. That I can totally see and understand. Breaking the rules. Referring to a different leaderboard is the easy way to evade many rules, and I don't think that's okay. I do think that's okay, because first of all, rules, which already are existing here, they're very, if you start reading it, it's very hard to follow, and it doesn't really cover everything, but it tries to summarize the rules as good as it can, because Doom speedrunning is not as easy. It's not just start the game, and many games want you to do extra step, do down patching, run special version of a game, don't use special buttons or some other restrictions, and just saying that certain restrictions is a way to evade moderation is just silly. Again, that is kind of reasonable in a way that you're not trying to be a different leaderboard, but the problem is I really don't want this leaderboard to just be some cesspool of jumping demo videos where you just jump to the exit or crouch or mouse look. I want it to represent Doom properly, at least to a certain subset of people who only want to use speedrun.com. Moderation rules say, yeah, that is about moderation rules. Yeah, true. But again, this is a port of a game. I mean, port of a leaderboard to a different leaderboard, which isn't the first landing page. That is, yeah, the users moderating a game should represent the consensus of players of a game, which is what have been done. People who do run the game and care about this game were saying to me that this leaderboard is a waste of time. And I nuked it because I got tired of hearing things from people who I respect deeply. Something of my work is not really needed, and if anything is hurting community. The speedrun community, not the people that getting interested. People who are getting interested will only click when clickbait appears. They won't go otherwise. They won't go out of their way unless they're really interested. And if they're really, really interested, they probably won't watch ALs. And if they are, there is a good good YouTube channel called Doomed Speed Demos Archive on YouTube. Another rules to give players an option to not be listed or easily evaded. I iterated over that already. I'm not gonna reiterate. Because you have a website where anyone can submit your runs and you can't possibly protect yourself. That is, I believe, in regards to the SDA, and that everyone is like forced to submit. It's okay to force people to use such leaderboards. If you don't want to submit, why would you need leaderboards on speedrun.com? That makes no sense. Nobody forces you on the SDA if you don't care for running. But you can submit even shit times here, and it will get accepted and uploaded. I legit don't get that sentence. People who just want to watch, and this is reasonable. This block is reasonable. You no longer can. If you want to see a specific level, you can use open ALs and you'll see a video. It was there. Everyone has to use Speedruncom to submit runs. They can just search once and watch them. And surely, not all games have to require a video, but most players will still submit a video. Just in general, now you have literally buy a game to watch someone's run. Well, in short, yes, you will. But as I said, there is a YouTube channel which I listed many times where you could watch demos which are processed in the video. Decision was very detached from the community, at least when it comes to speedrun.com users, and the thing choosing the right solution. So this, while detached from speedrun.com community, there weren't many people who complained. There were a few who complained who didn't run anything. There were a few who complained who really only wanted to run just side categories, which are considered a meme, like Mooman have been complaining. To the point that, no, there is new response by Wafu. I'll look it up in a second. Mooman's been complaining, and he got banned on Discord eventually because of language. So let me see the response again. The topic you're linking is about ALs. I'm extending that to failing to follow moderation rules, which is kinda a big deal, and I don't want to mix the thread too much. Not everything was said. And surely it might be a complicated issue, although implying that I'm seeing it too simply is a bit strange to me. You could as well explain it properly instead of just throwing it too complicated, not worth my time, etc. Well, it's worth my time doing this video because it's been on my mind for a long time now. It took 4 months to even post your conclusion, and then you still say that you might do something about it. You might just ignore it. Yeah, that's what I said in the other thread. So you must know that it's not a community decision, and your community are not only the runners. You couldn't have asked everyone, so removing over 300 ILs around doesn't sound like a decision people would agree on, and apparently they don't. Okay, so as I said, not many people said there was a bad idea. A few raised the question, where did leaderboards go? Others who already were watching YouTube related content knew the SDA on YouTube, that this thing was existing, structurized and maintained by Zero Master, which has a lot of demos for a lot of WODs, and it's quite a mess, obviously, because YouTube is such a mess. So finding one demo here is just beyond impossible, especially if you want to find Doom 1, because these are like one of the first uploaded. There they are. But you can watch everything here. And Doom, while being a very old speed game, have not been very popular in terms of people. Everyone who cared for demos already knew who they watch. Many people only knew that there were runs on Speed Demos Archive. Few of them knew that DSDA existed. Few of them just watched a random demo of Ocoblock playing through Holy Hell, etc, etc, and just creates a weird vision where people just think that there is no one big hub for everything, which there always was. And for people who want to watch videos, there are solutions. That being said, enough bragging on this. What I think is wrong is that this whole reaction happened, and I then just suddenly jumped off the train, and then in November I said that I agree that I shouldn't have done that, which was way too late. Way too late. And that I shouldn't have done that at all. And I personally do feel like I overreacted. And I cannot be sorry enough for this, and I don't want to be forgiven if you think that I'm an asshole and a terrible moderator. Feel free to do that, because it's my sole decision and my sole action that bring to this. I kind of do feel remorse for this. I mean, I really have been bothered by that for so long that it took me 4 months to finally find my middle where I would say, okay, I've really done dumb thing. I was, because I think I've been bragging for a long enough time to make my points clear why that happened. And if I'm not, well, that was a very good video then. I mean, I might have not make you, whoever watching, understand the reason, but it is somewhere between my words at the very least. That being said, I want this leaderboard to be more of a representation. So what will happen? Well, very simple, ILs will be back. I already started working on bringing them back by trying to apply somewhat new rules to what I said during this video, to somewhat represent this, but also represent the global community, but make it so the people who just want to have their shit stored on speedrun.com can do that if they don't have a world record. If the rules will basically just become more strict for world record submissions, and will brought back to what it is right now for everything else. That's how it will be. I'm already preparing UV speed. I mean, first of all, I contacted the Speedrun.com stuff because I was like, well, I did a thing which I don't really think was right now in hindsight, and I want to revent that. Though the answer to this, if they have a backup anywhere, will most likely be no, we don't. So I already started preparing the file so that I can fill in leaderboards very slowly. I will first only create UV speed for Doom 1, then I'm gonna fill it in with stuff as soon as I create it. Then the same will be for UV Max, Nightmare, etc., until it's back to the point where it was before I nuked everything. Rules will slightly change for IL submissions. Yeah, and I just hope I will not overreact like that ever again. I got my lesson out of it, that even if you respect certain decisions or words by certain people, there is kind of a responsibility which lies as the one who tries to maintain this face of community, which is speedrun.com, and to how many people browse this page. So yeah, that will be done. And well, deep sigh. Ooh, bad apology video right there. Ooh, don't do that. Yeah, I don't expect everyone to forgive me for nuking their records. If you care enough, resubmit. It will be here. Hopefully this video stretches what I've written and explains why speedrun.com is not exactly the place for Doom speedruns if you want to do them seriously. That being said, ILs will be brought back and life will go on, and I hope someone gets a lesson out of it as well as I did. And yeah, very all of a sudden made video, but I've been bothered by that by a long time, and I'm just gonna undo what I've done, and it's gonna cost me my time because I'm the one to blame. Yeah, that's it. Hopefully that was interesting to listen and maybe useful. Agree or not agree with me, you can write that down. I'll talk to you. I'm not gonna block you or ban you or anything. Unless you're being explicitly vile, then yeah, that might be different. Yeah, that was a long thing. I really can't follow if I said everything that I wanted, but I just hope that following this post helped me make my points more clear. Thanks for watching.